SPY, by the way, hasn't been below the 50-day moving average since May. All right, let's go to work.
I put all my clothes on until I
You
realized.
forgot to put the cream on. You were thinking, okay, back up, please. Thank you. Put the backup.
Beep,
Put the backup beeper on you.
beep, beep. Wide load coming through.
It's not wide. It's a backing up.
Yeah, there was like a truck carrying a mobile home
Oh God.
on Fort Johnson.
Really?
Yeah.
Fort Johnson.
Yeah.
Shit, nobody can get by that.
Well, it was just a single, but still, you know, it was like kind of a scary kind
All right, you are creamed up.
of. Yeah.
Ready to go.
Rub those babies in
It's
good.
all rubbed well. Pretty much
Rub them
rubbed
in
in.
good.
And they're sitting right on top of them, so they'll go right in.
Hopefully.
Yeah.
A little rubbing
There
action.
you go.
Thanks, darling. And I brought you a towel
Thank
this
you.
time.
Okay.
Now this stuff's not nasty like
No, I know.
other stuff.
Hey, Sam. Good morning. All right. Morning, Sam. Good morning. All right, let's take a look here again. Not much to do here at the moment. ISRG looks pretty good, Robert. ISRG. Yeah, it does. ISRG looks very nice. This is intuitive surgical, healthcare sector. Nice here. This is really a critical level here, 549.17. See how many times it's been there? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 times it's been there, and it's breaking above it today. So if you take this long, you want to make sure this stays above 549.17 today. It's coming right off the 8 exponential moving average. That's a very nice setup on ISRG. This is expensive stock, and the options are going to be expensive, but that's a really nice look. Very nice look. Thanks, Robert. Very nice. Hey, Shai. Gold's moving up strongly. Yeah, you know, it's moving up strongly right now, but this, you see where it's run right here into this 15 EMA. So you've got to be cautious, and you've also got some resistance here at 370. This is the all-time high in the SPY in gold, and it's been coming down for a while, and it's trying to bounce here today, which kind of makes sense in a bad market. There's a SPY trying to bounce. Again, I'm just watching here. I took some SPY super system trades. That's it. I haven't done anything else. I'm just waiting to see if this move down is gonna stop, or if we're gonna go back up above the 50-day moving average. I'm just gonna wait and see. You should be pretty much in just a wait and see mode. It's not an LPTE. This is not low probability trading environment. This is a good short trading environment, but it's very tentative to me. But again, not really able to gain any traction here at all. I don't know what in the world is going on with this scan. See if we're getting on the daily. Yeah, we got stuff on the daily. I can't believe there aren't any stocks that have 3 green candles. Yeah, now we get it. Okay, so there we go. So there's our stocks that are cascading up right now against this selling off market. A lot of low, fairly inexpensive stocks here. And again, I don't know what the dailies look like on these. That's Colgate-Palmolive. Again, that's a consumer defensive sector, which has been pretty strong here this morning. NGD, it's a gold. Again, gold strong. The gold stocks are pretty strong here. There's GLD. GLD is running right up into the 15. We'll see if it continues. It's trying to get through it right now. In fact, it's through it. 370.31 is a resistance on GLD. Silver also strong. Silver, it's above its 15 EMA, is moving up pretty nicely. So the precious metals are moving up here. The consumer defensive stocks are holding up pretty well. It's Coca-Cola right there. That's where the money's going right now. To the Russell, the consumer defensive stocks. Russell 2000 itself is pretty weak, but the consumer defensive are pretty strong. Pepsi probably also good. Yeah, Pepsi not as good as Coke. At least as far as price action is concerned. Procter & Gamble moving up nicely. CL also starting to pull back a little bit here. Market's still pretty weak. SPY still coming in. Again, a Coke, a nice setup here for an intraday trade. It's trying to break out. It's got resistance at about 71.62, but it's a pretty nice move setup. And Coke, I just took some calls expiring today. Just long some Coke calls. Again, this is going to be a pretty quick trade, I hope. They're not very expensive. They're barely above intrinsic value. I bought $70 calls, I think. Yeah, $70 calls expiring today. I paid 82 cents for them. And you can see it's trading at 70.80. So I've got $80, 80 cents of intrinsic value in the 82 I paid. If I get this thing up to 92, 95, I'm going to take it off. Again, this is not a fast-moving stock, so the options, you're not paying much of a premium on these things at all. And these consumer defensive stocks are holding up pretty well. There's a few of them out there that look good, but Coke looks the best to me right now. Amazon down pretty hard today. Google down pretty hard today. Nvidia down almost 4%. Tech stocks really taking it on the chin. Apple down right now, but only 10 cents. It's holding the 8 exponential moving average. IBM down, coming below the algo line, but coming supporting close to the 15 right now. It's above the 15. And again, I'm in Coca-Cola. Not a very fast-moving stock. I mean, we're talking about pennies here. I'm just looking for a 10 to 15 cent pop in this thing, maybe even just 10 cents. Hey, Sergio, not huge volume on STZ. Oh, note the huge volume at STZ November 21st, 145s. STZ. $145 calls. Let me look at the option chain. Yeah, those are the puts. 135 puts in STZ. 19,000 contracts got off today on STZ. You don't know whether those were bought or sold. There was 20,000 out there already, open interest, and now there's 19,000 going through today. That kind of looks like the same people who actually have the open interest on it. Again, that's 135 puts expiring November 21st. Stock's trading at 127, so these puts are 135 puts are in the money by about $8. So somebody's selling a lot of buying or selling a lot of these puts that are in the money. Nothing that's going to interest me there. Coke creeping up. Again, I'm long Coke here for a day trade. It's getting at 82. They're trading at 88 right now. So closing in on 10%. Market coming in again. Tried to pop up. Has not been able to get above the 15 EMA. Notice we haven't been able to get above this 15 EMA all day. We haven't really gotten above it all day long. well below the 50 exponential moving average right now by about $2.50. Triple Q's also coming in. IWM. Notice the IWM pump, but that's not IWM. Sorry, that's waste. That's actually a pretty nice look. I stumbled across it. Waste management. Pretty nice movement. 202 resistance on waste management. 202, and it's a weak stock. It's coming off of a very low base here, and it's running right into the 8, right there. But IWM, I suspect, is weak as well today. Yep. All the indexes are selling off. Okay, I think we get some more questions here. GLD was just looking at the M5. It was really nice SPY super system trade. And it could very well be. I'm sure there's a bunch of good sized SPY super system trades on stocks today, both long and short. Yeah, right there. Perfect one right there. Comes right off the 8 right here. Right up. Nice trade on that one. Would have been a nice trade on that one. Took another 60 points short on the NQ shy. Nice job. Pepsi was never as good as Coke. I agree, but that's personal opinion, I guess. But Coke has definitely got a stronger chart right now. If you look at Coke and you look at Pepsi, you can see the Coke chart much better right now. Again, it's pulling back a little bit, but I'm going to see if as long as I hold the 8, I'm in this, because the 8's moving up. So, all right. About 11:51 right now. Ari points out Bitcoin is slowly moving up. Yeah, that is odd in this market. But it took a pretty big pounding here this morning. Bitcoin, the coin itself is down about 0.9%. 0.9%. IBIT down now. Yeah, IBIT is actually up now for the day. Almost 0.3%. Yeah, for the most part, I'm just watching right now. All I've done today, I'm in Coke calls right now. I traded the SPY Super System earlier today for the short side. Made $60 a contract on it. But this is still pretty choppy action. You've really got to pick it off right at like the 15 or the 8. Because you get too far away from these things, it comes right back again. So again, just moving sideways right now. I've got no predetermined bias here on what the market's going to do. It could easily bounce, it could easily fall down. It's very weak today. I'm just looking for some individual standout stocks. There's gold, by the way, coming back down. Got to be careful here. IBM is a little bounce in IBM. IBB also starting to bounce a little bit. SMR still been weak all day, still weak. I don't care about that. I'm just going to let the calls expire worthless, and I'm going to evaluate the stock at the end of the day for whether to take the loss on it, or to buy some puts on it, or to hold on to the calls, or even buy some additional calls. Schwab's pulled back a little bit, still trading at 94.11. That's still got to be fine. Q's still below the 50-day moving average. SPY as well, but we're getting a lot of mixed candles here. Green, red, green, red, green, red, green, red. All right, check the YouTube over here. Hey, Arnissi, time spreads are new to you. Okay, seems like you can take a high quantity while keeping the defined risk pretty low. Well, I mean, most of the time they're fairly, they're fairly cheap. The one yesterday in SMR was expensive for the stock price of stock, but the implied volatility was extremely high, so that's why. Do I ever run into an issue closing out the trade if you have many contracts? It depends on the liquidity of the options. Typically, I don't, because most of the ones I take have a lot of options. They have a lot of open interest on them, or a lot of contracts. So no, don't. I mean, a lot of times I'll have on those cheap ones like that, 18 cent, 20 cents. I'll take 100 of them, but I'm not really. Sometimes it takes me a while to get filled on them getting in, and sometimes getting out as well, because especially if there's a wide bid-ask spread. So it just kind of depends. Want to understand them better before trying them. And basically, it's paper trading options isn't the best litmus test. Paper trading anything is really not the best litmus test of anything, because your fills on them they're not accurate. You're getting filled. The platforms are not going to fill you at the regular price on a paper trade. They don't, because obviously they're not that important to them. They're not making any money off of it. So I know a lot of people that have paper traded something for 6 months to a year and told me how they're up $300,000, and I've got this nailed, and then they get in and their account's gone 2 months later. Yeah, the wide bid-ask spread marks will sometimes impact that. The thing with time spreads is they're if your criteria are correct, it's a winning trade over time. Again, they have about an 85% win rate, 80 to 85%, and typically you make on most of them you're going to make between 30 and 40% when they work. And if they don't work, you're typically not going to lose 100%, because you've got next week's calls that you're long. And those next calls that are a week out are going to maintain some value, even if the stock pulls down. It's going to have some value in it. Q's down to 599, by the way. The 598.20 is the support level on the Q's as the SPY comes in again. SPY coming in. Q's coming in. 660.27 on the SPY. 660.27. The next support level. Coke pulling back just a bit. Again, I'm holding on to Coke. Intraday trade. Still holding up above, well above the market. SPY still coming in. Again, I have a line at 660.27. Yeah, Harry points out on the time spreads, you have to, if you're paying commissions, the ones that are really cheap, you know, 10, 11, 12, 15, 18 cents when you get into the trade, you got to remember that if you're on a platform where you're paying commission on those, that's going to eat into your profits of that, or add to your losses, depending upon what you're actually paying for commissions. Cheap ones aren't so great. If you don't have commissions, to me they're great. I love them because I don't pay any commissions on my options. I just pay a flat fee every month to trade. But if you're paying, 25, 30, 40, 50 cents a contract for commissions, then it can be, it can cut into your profits. If you're only making 3 or 4 cents, for me, 3 or 4 cents on a $10 is going to be like 30%. You may make 1.5 pennies or something on it. So just be aware of that. I try not to take too many of those just because of that fact that people with commissions are going to get a lot of their profits eaten up. SPY is too close to the support level for me to take a trade right now. 598.20 is what I've got. Just about a dollar to the downside. Again, Coke pulling back a little bit on me, but not much. Just riding the 8. What would you do in the time spread that moves strongly in the direction of your strike? Well, Max, if the time spread goes into the money on your call, then you typically got to take it off that day normally, because you run the risk of having it assigned. But if it doesn't jump too much over your long call, it's likely you're going to be able to still get out. But I would close it down that day. Try to get as much as you can out of it. But you typically don't want to hold this stock unless you like it long. Then if you get assigned the stock, you got to be trapped in it. No, I would obviously you got to close the trade down in that kind of a situation. A lot of times what you can do is if it's going against you to the upside like that, you can basically you can buy back the short calls for this week, take a loss obviously, and hold the long calls for next week, and see if you think it's going to go up higher. That way you've taken the risk of assignment off, and you're still long the calls. But you're going to lose money on it because it's going to cost you more to buy them back than you've made on the next week's yet. Because again, the implied volatility is going to have gone down a lot more on this week's than on next week's. NISI 65 cents a contract. Okay, I don't know. Who are you on? Who are you trading with? Fidelity, okay. You know, if you can always call them. I don't know if you have. If not, you can always call them and try to get them to lower that down because 65 is pretty high. Um, Again, that's why I trade here because I pay. I think I pay $40 a month flat fee, and I don't pay any commissions on options or stock. Most of them don't charge you on stock anymore, but I don't pay anything on options, and you know I trade a lot of options, obviously. SPY still coming in. Again, watching Coke. I'm in Coke long. We'll see if it bounces up here. Apple coming in now. Everything's going to come in when the market comes in like this. Again, Apple, I'm not particularly worried about because we've got a little bit of time on Apple out to the 21st. And I don't know how serious this pullback's going to be or how long it's going to last. Again, little tiny candles here in the SPY. It's coming up on 12.11 right now. Market weak. I mean, it's a pretty bearish trend down, but you've got to be in and out of these things. I don't think I want to stay anything too long right now. And again, SPY's approaching the 660.27 level. Qs 598.20 is the next support on the Qs. 598.20. About 12:14 right now, 12:15. Coke just moving size right along the 8 and the 15 here right now. SPY with a little bounce. See Coke pull back a little bit when the SPY bounced up here. That's the risk on the Coca-Cola trade, by the way, is that money starts coming back into the market on the more risk-on type trades, because Coke is a risk-off trade. So we'll see what kind of bounce we get in the market. So Coke pulling back. I'll probably have to take this off. It was a risk off trade, and we're getting a little move in the market, and Coke is reacting. And I get these are only good for today, so I'm just gonna take the loss on it here. Came out of Coke. Took a 10-cent loss on Coke. The stock doesn't move around, and it could bounce again, but the market's finding some support here, so I'm out of that. Not going to touch the SPY yet. We get too much resistance right up above here. Gold coming back again. This is again his gold. The risk-off trade is now coming back, just like most of the other consumer defensive stocks are. As the market pops up, who knows where it's going to go? It's this VWAP is going to be very important. This is the first time we get above the 50-day moving average since the open this morning. I'm sorry, the 15-day moving average, but we're still below the 50 even when we come up here. We're about 50 cents below the 50-day moving average at the VWAP. Hey, Bob. Quick position scalps. If the rule is something like beta plus 0.6 and theta are expiring, not too important. I don't. When I'm taking a quick trade, scalping type trade, a very quick trade, I'm just going to take it slightly in the money. Unless it's late Friday afternoon and I think the stock is going to move a lot, then I'll take it out of the money. We call them a lotto. But other than that, I'm just looking at taking. I'm looking at the delta, okay, not the beta, and I don't looking at the theta. I know the theta is going to be really fast, so I need to have the stock move in the direction I'm taking. So I take slightly in the money, calls or puts. Hey, Sarang, just got here. Yeah, big drop today, a very big drop. Toss is 65 cents, Joe. That's on the commissions. Okay, thanks. I know you can move that down if you call them. Yeah, Trader it takes to Trader you pay $10 a month flat fee. Yep, you Schwab lowered your commissions down to 50 from 65 cents. That's still a lot. It just depends. A lot of people they like Toss is going to charge you too, but a lot of people love the platform, and Toss has a lot of good attributes to it. When I first started trading. I used Thinkorswim when they were just developing it. When Tom Sosnoff was out there creating this site, and there was hardly anybody on it. That's where when I started, and they then sold that off to TD Ameritrade, and then TD Ameritrade sold it off to Schwab. Is the SPY coming up in the VWAP here? Hey, Quinn. Joe says if you don't trade a few hundred a month, Toss doesn't care about anymore about small traders. Yeah, I don't know. I haven't talked to them in a long time. Hey, Quinn, you called Schwab and got your contracts down to 20 cents. Yeah, that's pretty good. And free it from closing contracts below 5. Yeah, most of them, if you're trading, Thinkorswim's always been like that. If you close a trade and it's less than it's 5 cents or less, then you don't pay any commissions on it. Okay, SPY coming right up to the VWAP here. Again, I took that Coca-Cola trade off. Took a 10-cent loss on Coke. Good job, Shai, taking the money, taking some profits on ES. For Schwab, you're trying to understand the optimal target for us when we roll out our weekly ATM short leg. Okay. When you get into Friday, today, all right, think about what it's doing now. If Schwab moves closer to 95, we can buy back this week's short leg cheaper, but the credit from next week's short is also less. Correct. And as you get into the afternoon, there's not going to be a big difference. Because the move down, if the stock moves up, you're going to make a little bit more on this week's because it's going to decay faster. So you will make more than you lose in next week's, but it's going to be fairly minimal. So anytime around now, you can probably put it in there. It's trading at 94.38. So if I look at the Schwab right now, Shai, Interactive Brokers is 65 cents. Okay, thanks. Yes, Joe says when Thinkorswim was much better when it was Thinkorswim. Yeah, yep, it's true. The bigger the companies get, they don't really care. Does IBK do any discounts on options? Does anyone know? I don't know about IBK. Are you talking about Interactive Brokers when you say IBK? I don't know. I used to trade IBK when they had really low options commissions, but I don't know. All right, so let me take a look at Schwab here for a minute, all right? Because it's at a point where we can probably consider rolling it. We just want to get it out of the way. All right, so we take Schwab. It's trading at 94.36. All right, so this week's $95 puts right now on Schwab are 50 cents by 77 cents. Right, so we're gonna have to pay about probably 58, about close to 60 cents to buy them back. So we collected 155, so we're going to make about $95 per contract if we buy them back right now. Now, on next week's $95 puts, next week's $95 puts are 179 by 194. Pretty nice. That's pretty nice right there. So I'm probably going to go ahead and just do that now. And I'll probably give up a little bit of money if it bounces up here again. But I think I'm gonna roll it right now. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and put my order in. I'm going to buy back my $95 puts for this week. The 66 by 82 right now because the stock just pulled back, so it's more expensive, right? I'm gonna buy back those, and I'm gonna sell the November 14th 95 puts, and those are going for 179 by 196, right? So what I'm doing is I'm rolling it over, and I'm getting a credit of $111 per contract for this trade. That's pretty good. All right, so I'm going to roll it right now. See if I can get 111. I may not get 111. I might have to adjust it. I get filled. All right, I get filled at 111. So that's what I'm going to do with Schwab right now, and it's going to change as the day goes on, but it's not going to change an awful lot, because this week's and next week's are gonna be similar as far as what they do. All right, so in this case, we're buying back the November 7th $95 puts, and we're selling November 14th $95 puts. For about $111 credit. Which is pretty nice. So if it goes to 95 next week, we'll capture close to another $111. We collected 75 profit last week. We've got about a 65, no, about a 75. What do we get this week? Let's see, they're going for 74 by 7. So they're going to about 76 cents. We sold them for 155, so even say 80, $75. We collected another 75, so we're up about $150 a contract after rolling this week, and I'm going to roll it one more time. Now you can close the trade out right now if you want to, and take profits on it. You can buy back this week's put, sell the December, let's sell the December 92.50 puts. Right, those are 243 by 251. We paid 247 for those. You basically those are going to be breaking even, so you're going to keep all of that profits. So the trade will be up for you about $85 plus about $75, about $160, $170 a contract. That's a pretty nice profit on this Schwab. But I did roll mine out to next week, and I got $111 credit, I believe. Yep, $111 credit. And that's not an alert trade, so I'm not going to send it out, but that's what I did. And again, you have the option of closing the trade down if you want to. But, you know, what I'm doing is I'm looking at the price on Schwab. All right, so here's Schwab. All right, so let's take a look on over here. Let's take a look at it on the daily, where we can see what the SPY's doing. All right, so here's the SPY daily. Okay, here's today, Wednesday, Monday down, Tuesday up, Wednesday down, Thursday up, Friday down. But see what Schwab's doing? It's not doing anything. It's just moving sideways. That's what you want to see in a weekly ATM. Okay, so that's a pretty good. I think I kind of try to explain the strategy behind it and why I'm holding on to this into the Schwab. I want to get another week. If I can get another $80, $75, $80, $85 a contract on that, I'll have probably $240, almost $300 a contract profit. When they work like this is really, really pretty good. Right now you can get $1.15 credit. It's going to move around a little bit, but it's not going to move around a huge amount, because as this week's goes up, next week's will will go down, and as this week go down, next week's will go up. Just not by exactly the same amount. Okay? Does that kind of clear it up a little bit? Interactive brokers, Bob. Yeah, I don't know if they, you know, what you want to do is just call them, Bob. If you're trading on Interactive, call them. Know what you're paying for commissions, and tell them you're considering switching trading platforms. The problem with Interactive brokers is it's enormous. People all over the world use Interactive brokers because you can trade anything on it. And I don't know what you're paying for commissions on it, and I don't know if they'll even adjust it or not. And when I took it, it was because it was a lot cheaper than what I was getting on Thinkorswim at the time. But it's all changed since then. That's clear on? Okay, very good. Gary, after the Schwab trade, is my position completely closed or rolled? It's rolled. I rolled it because I'm selling next week's 95 puts. So now I've got 95 puts short next week, and I'm still long the 92.50 puts for December. Right? So I just rolled that. All right. I'll put that there. I rolled the $95 puts out to next week. Okay, I don't want to put too much verbiage in here because it gets a lot of lengthy, but it's really not that complicated. You're buying back this week's puts and selling next week's puts, collecting the premium from this week that you've already gotten as much as you can, and then you're putting on another trade to capture the premium again next week. Sarang, the Schwab trade has been freaking massive for you. Yeah, well, it's a pretty big profit. It's a pretty big profit. We're up about $160 a contract. That's a lot.
Carriers must reduce flights by 10% by 6 a.m. November 14. This is on comments out by the FAA.
Sean, you want to make sense? You're not missing any. The 95 puts for next week are going for about $1.80. That's correct. When I just rolled mine out, I'll tell you what I got for them. When I just rolled out mine for next week, I collected $187 a contract. Last week at this point, I collected $155. The volatility has gone up on these things. Yes, if somebody, Ari says, for someone who hasn't not used this doing diagonals, rolling it is set up an Excel spreadsheet. This is how he learned. Keeps track of exactly the net profit. Yeah, and you can actually, if you set up an Excel spreadsheet, you can link the Excel spreadsheet to Thinkorswim, and actually pull in the prices of the options, so that you can see exactly where you're at. But you can do a spreadsheet on it. It'll show you. I do it in my head, so I know what it's at. But it's the Schwab is pretty easy, because if I look at my Schwab December position, and I know what I paid for it. Okay, when we bought the Schwab December 92.50s, we paid $247 to buy those. They're trading at $250. You're actually still up money on the long puts. So not only would you be up $160 per contract, you'd be up another $3 or $4 from the long puts if you close the position out today. It's all time decay and having the stock stay within a particular trading range. It sounds a lot more complicated than it really is. It's not that complicated. And the thing is, if the trade goes against you, if you have to buy back this week's puts for more than you paid for last week's, okay? The more than you collected last week, you have to buy them back and take a loss. But when you're rolling out to the next week, you're going to recapture all of that plus more. As long as the stock stays, you know, around $95 or so. Listen, I have a video on this whole thing, on weekly ATMs and how they work. You know, so I go into quite a bit of detail on that and how weekly ATMs work. You still have the December 92.50 December put. Is that okay? That's exactly right. You keep that put on until we close the trade down. That's your protection. All right? If the stock starts going against us hard, that's your protection. It also creates the spread so that your margin that you're responsible for is only the difference between the two strikes. If you were selling $95 puts naked without any kind of a spread on it, you'd be responsible for having enough money to cover the stock if you got assigned. SPY didn't quite get to the VWAP and it's starting to pull back a little bit right now. Again, I'm out of Coke. Coke pulled back and I'm out of that. Market going up kind of negated that. Again, please listen to the video that you have access to on weekly ATMs. It's going to explain the strategies. You really want to understand these strategies when you take them. It sounds complicated when we talk about it, but it's not. It's a very straightforward strategy of collecting premium week after week after week on a stock that typically is slightly bullish to neutral, moving sideways. You just keep trying to collect premium. So the stock that you select is critical. The premium that you collect is critical. You've got to be able to collect at least 1% of the current stock price on the premium. So when you sell, for example, Schwab this morning, when we sell Schwab's trading at 94.27. We're selling 95 puts, right? We want to be able to get 95 cents for it, but we got more than $1 over above that. That's a really good good premium. That's why this one's working so well, because we're collecting a lot of premiums on this thing, on a stock that's not moving anywhere. But again, please review the video. It's going to make this all clear to you. All right, I'm going to get ready to eat here for a little bit. Thank you, YouTube, for being here today. By the way, on YouTube, Rightline is going to put a special this week on the software, the SPY Super System software. They have a lifetime on it right now. If you get the lifetime, you get My Room for life and the SPY Super System for life for $2,500. But what they're gonna have for this week, this is gonna be the beginning of like a Black Friday special, that you can buy the software itself for a year for $9.99, under $100,000 for a year for the SPY Super System software, and you get a month in My Room if you're not already in there. Okay. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and shut down the YouTube feed so I can get some lunch. SPY's trying to get to the VWAP, starting to pull back again. I wouldn't be surprised to see it pull down and make another low, but we'll see. Okay, I'll go ahead and shut down the YouTube. Thank you very much. And thanks for being here. Have a great weekend, everybody, from YouTube. We'll see you Monday. We'll be back about 11:30 on Monday morning to revisit the market. We'll see what happens. We'll see what happens over the weekend. As far as news is concerned, there is some conversations now about ending the government shutdown. We'll find out. Again, those kind of things the government shutdown is starting to affect the market now. It's been dragged on long enough. Obviously, the travel is getting hit pretty hard now. I think American Airlines canceled 10,000 customers had their flights canceled today, so started to take a little bit of an impact on it. So consumer sentiment was down this morning, so we're fairly bearish. Is what the bias is, but not to me. I'm just trading what the market is. Again, I trade what I see, not what I think, see, or hear. I'm just trading what I see, not what I think, read about, or hear. I don't listen to social media. I'm not listening to CNBC. I'm not listening to analysts. frankly, they don't know any more than you do about what the market's going to do. They have no clue. All right, listen, have a great weekend out there on YouTube. We'll see you